Welcome everybody back to the All Juve Cast channel. I'm your host Alberto, and we are going to get ready as it's another match day. All right, we got Juventus and Sassuolo today, and before we get to Juve versus Sassuolo, of course, we're going to cover the week's roundup, starting with the big victory against Milan. So I was able to have a great podcast, episode 132, which is out there now wherever you listen to your podcasts. But check it out. We had the boys from the Red Card Report podcast on there, and it was a lot of fun. All right. Great fun. So check out that episode. But of course, Juve coming up with a big win against Milan. And then let's deal with the aftermath. Post-match, De Ligt, Matthias De Ligt for Juventus coming up with COVID, all right? And so he is the most recent player to test positive for Juventus. We now have on that list Alexandro, Juan Cuadrado, and now Matthias De Ligt. So that left some question marks at the back line going into this match. We will talk about how it's going to affect Juventus versus Sassuolo. As far as the other news, still it's transfer news. And it's transfer news with Juventus, basically curious as to who is going to be the player they will pick up, as they seem adamant about picking up a fourth option striker. Let's go through some of the names. Quagliarella, may not be an option because they would literally only want him for the remainder of the season, and apparently that's not sitting well with Quagliarella for his terms. So that's what makes it very difficult, as that's been reported by multiple sources. When it comes to Milik now is apparently going to be available on a free that Juve is trying to come up with terms with the player, as Napoli is continues to insist on getting 15 to 18 million euros for Milik. Incredibly stupid from Napoli's point, in my opinion, to try and get that big a fee for a guy who's literally going to be able to go for free come the end of the season. So they're trying to maximize based on teams needing it. I don't know if it's going to work out in Napoli's favor. I can't see anybody doing that. If Juve should get Milik on a free, I want to know, do you guys think it'd be good for Juve to pick him up on a free? How do you feel about it? I know that there's a lot of Juventini upset. Should we spend money to add Milik? So what about on a free? What do you guys think then? So I'll wait for some of the comments in here. Moving on, Muriel. So Muriel from Atalanta. Rumors of a swap. Okay, so rumors of a swap with Muriel and Kulusevski, a loan swap. So let's get it straight. It's not going to be something that's permanent. It would literally be a loan swap. Now, this one, Muriel as a player coming in, sure. But to sacrifice Kulusevski in order to get that, this would be very it's a tough one. I know Kulusevski has not make a position his own with Juventus so far. However, when it comes to the growth and development, I hate to take him away from the project right now and do that. But basically, this rumor has now been sparked because of the fact that Bernardeschi refuses to move. This is a tough one. I still, in my personal opinion, say that we need to get a playmaker before worrying about a fourth option forward. So to not only get a fourth option forward, but also lose Kulusevski for the remaining term. Sure, he may get more minutes. How's it going to work out? I don't really know, but I'm not a big fan of this. We got comments coming in watching the Merida game. Of course, they were playing Roma currently as we speak, and we got eyes on that match. 74th minute, Merida up 2-1. Roma had a very promising start in the first half, but since then, Merida has got a couple goals. And Antonio writing in, watching the Merida game against Roma, and all I can say is thank God we never got Dzeko. He's been brutal. I was watching the first half of that match, and it was not impressive from his point of view. But Roma still continues to be a team's gaining traction and momentum, so they're actually a fun side to watch, whatnot. But out of all the options we were linked with, that was a tough one, but I'm extremely happy with Morata that we got to come in. So, when it comes to Milik on a free, going back to that one, this one's going to be interesting. We know Morata. We know Morata's deal. Will Juve spend the money? Because it is still quite a large sum to make Morata's move permanent. Would they go to Milik? Will Morata's play, which has been stellar so far, force their hand? It'll be very, very interesting to see how that's going to play out. So keep eyes on that. Milik will continue to be a name till the end of the season that's linked with Juventus. Rodrigo Di Paul. Apparently, rumors coming out that it's not going to be easy for Juve should they want him, and they would have to be about 40 million euros for Rodrigo Di Paul. So this makes things rather interesting. That's quite a good sum of money. You have other players available that are not far off from that price range. So where do you go as far as that position and that playmaker stands? Locatelli's agent coming out today, okay, and basically in an interview, of course, as he's about to face Juventus, saying that he would not be surprised should he join Juventus in the summer. And he wouldn't have been surprised if the deal was already done and he would have been playing this match versus Sassuolo. So I think it's just a matter of time there. I see Locatelli coming in. Locatelli or DePaul, I see them as two slightly different players. DePaul able to be a little bit more advanced. But when you talk about more advanced players, Aouar is not far off that price tag that's on DePaul. So DePaul or Aouar. Tough one there. Locatelli is going to be a Juve player, I feel. I have no doubt in my mind. The way Pirlo talks about it, the way now his agent's even talking about it, and what Locatelli has said, wouldn't be surprised. So coming in, I hope Kulu starts tonight in place of Ramsey. He had a great impact coming in, and I'm interested to see if he can kick on from where he left off. Thoughts. So here's the thing. Let's get to Juve Sassuolo. So we know that obviously Sandro, Quadrado, and De Ligt, due to COVID, are unavailable. Morata, still healing, unavailable. What's this mean for the lineup? Well, here's the thing with Kulishevsky. It's a tough one. I'm starting to feel, the more I see him, that he would be better off being used as one of those super sub-esque type players, only because we see quite a difference in his play when he comes on to make an impact, especially against tired legs. He's a strong player. When he entered that game against Milan, he actually had a play. I can't remember the opposition's player that was on him. He literally tossed him aside. He's a strong kid. Getting him in against tired legs, I think, would make him do more damage, in turn getting his confidence level up, and then hopefully able to build from there. Positionally, he looks fine in a match like that against Milan, where it's quite an open match because Milan's not afraid to open up and come back at us. So when we play a team that would try and park the bus or whatnot, it's going to be a little bit different for him. And we know that Kulusevski struggles with back to goal and opposition right on him. It's a totally different game. So I'm not so sure. The importance on points as well. Getting a win out of this one. We need a win against Sassuolo. We need a lot of wins in the month of January. We left ourselves a little margin for error. We again keep an eyes on our rivals there, AC Milan. It was very, very important to see how they would follow up after the loss against Juventus, and they followed it up with a win. Again, we hear Rigore per Milan getting PKs like crazy, but it didn't matter. They were the better team in that match yesterday. Sassuolo and Juventus, they've only met each other about 14 times. Okay, so 10 wins for Juve, 1 loss and 3. So 1 win for Sassuolo and 3 ending in draw. Who's going to be able to name the leading goal scorer in the history of this fixture? Let's have some fun there while I kind of see if I can come up with a lineup here. This is basically how I would line them up. So we know that Danilo could miss the match against Merda. Okay, so this is massive props, okay, and massive credit to Danilo, a guy who at last season faced a lot of criticism from Juventini, and we know about the deal that had Cancelo going out, Danilo coming in, and Paratici even took a lot of heat for it and whatnot. But a lot of credit to Danilo, where now we are actually thinking about this and wanting to keep Danilo available for the match against Merda. So he deserves a lot of credit for the work he's done, especially adapting to Pirlo's system and being a key cog in it. So if Danilo gets a yellow in this match against Sassuolo today, he will miss the big match against Merda. So me personally, I would not start him. Okay. And I know it gets tricky because obviously Sandro, Quadrado, and De Ligt are all out because of COVID. But what I would do is, and it's also been rumored that Buffon will be the one starting. So at keeper, I'm honestly confident in either one of them. You could go Buffon, you could go Szczesny. Okay, let's have Buffon in there for the sake of matching the rumors there that he's going to be starting. Buffon. I would go Demiral, Bonucci, and Chiellini. I would have Frabotta on that left side, and I'd have in across the middle Chiesa as your right wing back, right winger. I'd have McKennie, Artur, and Ramsey. And then, of course, Dybala, Ronaldo. That would be my lineup versus Sassuolo. That's how I would line them up. I think Ramsey should start the match despite my criticisms of him against Milan, which was he was getting into great positions, but the execution wasn't there. Still getting into those positions demands attention, and it leaves space for others. His finishing was nowhere near where it needs to be, but he still does a lot of positive work. This formation, I've got some feedback saying that we cannot have Demiral out on that right side, but the way our system plays out is 3-4-1-2 or 3-5-2. Chiesa being on that right, where some people would say that wouldn't help Demiral, I think will, especially with McKennie on that side of the midfield. I think you'd have a good amount of coverage. Demiral is not slow by any means. The only fear there is that Chiellini and Demiral have both come back from injuries, and it could be a risk there. However, what's the bigger risk for you? Danilo getting another card missing the match or one of these guys re-aggravating an injury. We do have Dragusin. Okay, so there's been a lot of shouts to get Dragusin, the young Romanian center back, in the lineup for this match. Again, with the importance stressed on us needing to get points, needing to finalize all this, I don't think that I would play him personally. So that's just me. That's how I would line us up against Sassuolo, though. And what do we got coming? Is Dybala top scorer in the head-to-head? Dybala is not the top scorer in this head-to-head. However, it was a fellow Argentine. So it was a fellow Argentine. I'll leave you with that. So we've got the lineups. Kind of what I would do for production for Sassuolo. The match will be basically at midday my time. Okay, so 11:45 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. This is going to be a big one for Juve. I really liked the words by Pirlo as he was starting to he praised his team for the job done against Milan, but he still mentioned the importance of them and their mentality and the focus, and again spoke to something that I've spoken about a lot, especially on the last podcast, episode 132 with the boys from Red Card Report. Check it out if you haven't. But after Juve scores, it's almost inevitable that we have this drop off. Okay, drop off in focus, and just the level of play just drops off for a period of time. And then again, you're almost waiting for that wake up call moment where all of a sudden they pick it back up again. They need to stop that. Pirlo's spoken about it. I don't know what it is that will stop that or change that. It's really just up to the guys. The concentration needs to be there. Maybe in a match like this where Chiellini is involved as well as Buffon, if the rumors are true that he'll be starting, maybe that helps things out a bit. This is a big one. Sassuolo, while doing well in the table, literally just below Juventus, as Juventus sits in fifth spot currently with 30 points. Sassuolo right below them with 29. Obviously, Juventus playing one game less than them. But while Sassuolo, again, has been right below us in their last 5 matches, have only won 2, and they've struggled against better sides. Okay, so yeah, basically getting absolutely thrashed by Atalanta 5-1. They lost to AC Milan, and were able to get a draw against Fiorentina. So while they're doing well in the table, when it comes to the better sides, they struggle to get results. Obviously, you see the odds down there. Juventus, a very solid favorite on those betting odds. If that's of interest to you, I do not bet on my favorite teams when they're involved. I just think it's a bad omen. I don't mess around with those, but I thought I'd put it down there for anyone who is interested. So this will be a big one. Very interesting to see what ends up happening. Another guess on the leading scorer in the history of this fixture, Juventus Sassuolo, and it's Tevez. It is not Tevez. Okay, so not Tevez. And Roma have just scored, as we got eyes on, of course, our rivals there, seeing what they're doing there. And it's 2-2 now in the 87th minute as Roma has scored through Mancini. So 2-2. Interesting. Roma, like I said, have been gaining traction, starting to play very well. But we can't have eyes on the rivals all the time. We got to get down to business, and today we got to get down to business. Juventus Sassuolo. Again, now let's leave you with predictions. Okay, so predictions for this one, for me, Juventus will win this match. And I think they're going to win it. I don't think I'm going to go with a clean sheet. I would love to see a clean sheet. I'd love to be wrong on that, but I don't think we're going to see a clean sheet. I think we're going to see... I know Sassuolo will be without Berardi. However, it's the same old story with Juventus. The amount that we need to associate numbers with attack leaves us open for counters. I see them coming at us very, very well through guys like Bolga, whatnot. 3-0, there's a call with CR7 on the double. So you're going to go with the clean sheet. I'm not. I'm going to call a 2-1 victory for Juventus in this one. Maybe we get some more goals. I'd be pumped if we do, but I think Juve will win 2-1. Be a little bit tighter than most of us would like. But goal scorers. I'm going to say Dybala gets one, and Ronaldo, coming off a match where he didn't get any and we scored 3 goals, I'll put him down for 1. So 2-1 from me. We got a 3-0 out there from Antonio there. So, we'll see what happens, but big match day. I'm pumped for it, as always. And, of course, I got a great guest lined up for the post-match podcast. All right, so enjoy the match, Juventini. Hopefully we could pull off the victory. If you've been tuning in, if you've been watching, checking out this video, please subscribe to the channel for more all Juventus content. And please like the video. It's super important. Doesn't take much time. Appreciate all the support. And we'll be back post-match with the podcast. Make sure to follow me also on Twitter and get any questions, comments you want addressed on the podcast in there. And keep an eye out for some podcasts which will be live and you can interact on the spot while we record it. Thanks again. Forza Juve, fino alla fine. Enjoy the match.